If you've been scrolling through endless NAS listings, watching endless comparison videos, and still feel that knot in your stomach because you're not sure which box actually makes sense for your workflow, this review is here to clear that up. I've spent the past couple of weeks digging into the Synology FlashStation FS200T, reading the official specs, skimming the forum chatter, and even talking to a few small business IT guys who have it in their rack. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through why this particular AllFlash unit might be the sweet spot or why it could be a costly misstep. First off, the biggest decision point for most buyers in this space is SSD versus HDD. Traditional 4-bay or 5-bay HDD NASes are cheap per terabyte, but they come with a constant hum and a latency that can bite you when you're moving large media files around. The FS200T flips that script by offering 6 2.5-inch SATA SSD bays in a chassis that's barely bigger than a desktop printer. In practice, that means you can run it in a home office, a cramped co-working space, or even mount it on the wall without worrying about a noisy fan. The Whisperquiet operation isn't just a marketing line. Users report being able to leave it on overnight while streaming 4K video to a conference room and not hearing a thing. Speed is another practical concern. The box ships with a dual-port network configuration, a 2.5 GBE port for the future-proof, high-throughput workloads, plus a classic 1 GBE port for legacy devices. If you have a 2.5 GB capable switch or a direct attach cable, you'll see transfer rates that make moving a 100 GB project feel like a click, not a half-day chore. For teams that need to share raw video footage, CAD files, or large data sets across a few workstations, that extra bandwidth can shave off real-time editing delays. On the flip side, if your network is stuck at 1 GBE, you won't unlock the full potential of the SSDs, and you might wonder whether the premium price is justified. Now, who should actually consider buying this thing? If you run a boutique post-production studio, a photography lab, or a small IT department that needs rapid access to a shared repository, the FS200T hits a lot of marks. Its built-in Synology Disk Station Manager, DSM, software brings photo management, automated backups, and data protection tools right out of the box, so you don't have to cobble together third-party scripts. The ability to expand the RAM to 8 GB means you can enable more memory-hungry packages like Surveillance Station for a handful of IP cameras, or even spin up a few Docker containers for testing. In short, anyone who values low latency, silent operation, and a polished software suite will find a natural home here. Conversely, you should walk away if you're a typical home user who streams movies from Plex, backs up a few family photos, and doesn't need sub-second file access. SSDs cost roughly 10 times more per gigabyte than 3.5-inch HDDs, and the FS200T 6Bays, while flexible, are limited to 2.5-inch form factor. That caps you at around 4 terabytes per drive today, so you're looking at a maximum raw capacity of roughly 24 TB. Still a lot, but the price tag climbs quickly. If you're planning on storing massive archives of raw footage that runs into the hundreds of terabytes, you'll probably be better served by a larger, HDD-centric rack that can hold 10+ bays. The FS200T also lacks any NVMe slots or PCIe expansion, so you can't bolt on a lightning-fast cache drive if you ever outgrow the SATA SSDs. Let's talk about the practical strengths that show up day to day. The AllFlash design means there's no spin-up delay. Every time you hit open in Adobe Premiere, the file is ready instantly. The built-in data protection suite offers snapshot replication, so you can roll back an entire folder to a previous point if a rogue script wipes a batch of files. For a small office that can't afford a dedicated backup server, that feature alone saves both time and money. The quiet chassis also makes the unit suitable for an office environment where noise complaints can become a real HR issue. Because the device is only a foot wide, it slides neatly onto a shelf next to your router, keeping cable clutter to a minimum. On the downside, the biggest hidden trade-off is the cost per gigabyte. You're essentially paying for the speed and silence of a data center-grade flash array, but you're not getting any of the ultra-high-end features like dual-port 10 GBE, built-in SSD caching, or redundant power supplies. The FS200T's power draw is low, which is great for energy bills, but it also means there's no hot swap capability for drives. If a SSD fails, you have to power down the unit or at least pause services while you replace it. That's not a deal breaker for most, but it's a nuance you won't hear in a headline spec sheet. Another practical consideration is the software licensing model. DSM is free, but certain advanced packages, like the full surveillance station license for more than